Alright, best of 5. Starting off in Eternal Empire in the bottom left as the yellow Protoss. He is MaNa, Team Liquid. In the top right as the red Terran, it is Mao's HeRoMaRinE. Love myself these best of 5s. This is actually a huge tournament when you consider what's at stake. Like, I know when they were first announced, we were just excited just to kind of, you know, have anything at all. The fact that it's available to most people, you have to apply to cast, but still it's something that is run independently. You don't have to pay your own out-of-pocket stuff. They hire their own admins. Like, that's fantastic. It's great for the community. It's great for the players as well. You know, kind of buffing up the competitive side when it's got that prestige added to it, when it's part of the official tournaments, when it has those EPT points, so that it's not just an online cup, so it buffs up the competition for them. And it also provides a lot of opportunity for streamers and casters, so it's a great thing all around. But then, they buff it up with COVID, saying that not only were they going to rearrange everything, you know, the whole big spiel, the announcement a couple months ago, but that they also found that this was very successful, which was cool to read as well. So they're putting more money into it. So $400 spread out across the top 4, no longer just the top 2. That's pretty sick. That's a lot for roughly 5 to 6 hours. Sometimes less, not often more, with, you know, really good players signing up too. So again, it's not that kind of just like, oh, it's not, you know, it doesn't matter, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of practice. Like, it's pretty good stuff. The $400 per week, per region. It's a lot of extra cash. And the Europeans, I mean, they started off by taking this very seriously. Like, many of the up-and-coming Europeans, plus a couple of the tippy-top Europeans, were already taking this super seriously. Huge sign-up numbers. But I think it just improved since then. Korea still doesn't really seem to care. But Korea has their own goals and priorities and all that good stuff. Alright, HeRoMaRinE goes for a quick second barracks, kind of on the 2-1-1 that happens in PvP. A bit faster on the stim, not a Liberator or Medevac to help with this Hellion opener. MaNa is going to go for Twilight Council Robo, so probably going to also wall off a little bit here in the natural, since the Hellion opener, whether it's 2 or 4, has become so popular. Shield Battery in the main actually kind of felt like MaNa was going to be more aggressive, but honestly, you don't really get opportunities to be aggressive. Terrans are building bunkers at very safe times. You have to basically do like a max packs or just general proxy gateway to really get something done. And they're also doing these Hellion openers. And the Hellion openers are very good against any Adept pressure, and decently good against Stalker pressure as well, actually. Just because they can chase the Stalker and they produce faster than the Stalkers get across the map, right? So the downside, I made it sound like the Hellion opener is just a godsend. I do think it's good, and I think it's going to, you know, change in the meta between doing really good and not as great and blah, blah, blah. The downside of doing Hellions is that you don't have a lot of production. Like, actual production. These Hellions, they've worn off. Literally right now, they are not useful. They didn't even get a scout. So they've already worn off on the usefulness. Could have been faster swapping of the barracks onto reactors and what have you. But they do have that early game defense. They do have the scouting. Not directly, but still Reaper to the north. Selnaga taken by this one. This one also scouting for third base timing. Very good scouting with this. As much as you can get. And then HeRoMaRinE seems to be a little bit interesting. Didn't bother swapping off the starport in the factory, is reducing Widow Mines. He's going to go for a later Widow Mine drop. And it's talking a lot about HeRoMaRinE scouting. MaNa's only just now going to get the scouting in the main base, so. And it's not even, he's actually really scared of maybe a Raven being out, so he's going to skirt around the sides. This would be where a third CC would be, so this is a good scout, but he is, funnily enough, missing the scout of the actual build for quite some time. It's kind of funny how he's microing it. Anyways, Hellion Reaper combination is going to tackle one single soccer. Link's done. Link's done. Oh, a little more important, I guess. Medevac drops the Wood Mines, get 3 probes, picks it up, leaves. That's quite obnoxious, so the Hellion, doing more than just injuring a stalker and delaying the third Nexus, also kept the stalkers distracted. A surprising amount done for such quote-unquote useless units when it comes to a 6-minute TVP. Observer has finally gotten the full information, but it actually took so long to kind of wrap around everything that it didn't really see the exact order of things. Ultimately, we're talking about slight differences. It doesn't really matter. But more importantly, seeing like, oh, the bio is moving out. Oh, the reactor is on the starport, so I should be anticipating a push soon. Yeah, I kind of missed the whole initial thing, which is 2 Wood Mine drops being set up. A very good reaction. MaNa only taking 3 probes. The first one probably only could take 2 probes from this one. Needs to focus on the push, though. Needs to focus on the push. Oh my god, those are 3 units right there. Please focus on the push. He knows the bio has moved out. Oh my god. Oh, the stim up. It's not going to work out. That was actually really scary. Force fields, they want to protect the Colossus. That is their job, to protect the Colossus. But, I mean, if they had perfect force fields, they could have force fielded the ramp. Here, there's a big old concave, and the Nexus wasn't done for the overcharged shield battery, so I was kind of scared, but HeRoMaRinE determines, okay, I can't kill that, just backs away. Looks like another Wood Mine drop did get more probe kills. I think maybe in the left, maybe in the natural. Seems like it's died, so that's probably what got 7 probe kills. Or 5 more. This one's still alive, is always going to be threatening. Always going to be people who stalkers back at home, very annoying. HeRoMaRinE goes into a third CC. MaNa, having stayed on 2 base a little bit longer, is going to be up to a very comfortable number of 3 Colossus. But, not great upgrades. Not a whole lot of aggression out in the map. Not a lot of map presence in general. The stalkers are home defending. So HeRoMaRinE should be feeling very comfortable in this game. He has gotten his macro exactly where he wants it to be. So very easily changing over into Viking production. He already has so many medevacs. 2 more barracks. There they are. Should be done. And he's going to be able to afford both a second starport and a Ghost Academy without MaNa doing anything about it. So MaNa is playing very defensive. He's hoping to find the push that does generally come down this ramp, but it already has. HeRoMaRinE off to the right side. Might have surprised MaNa a little bit. This army is very frail, if not controlled correctly and immediately. I had that whole spiel when we were casting Estrella versus Innovation, and Estrella ended up overstaying his welcome, got kind of killed. And then eventually won the game anyways. Oh, God. But anyways. Point was that can be a scary thing to do. MaNa was paying attention to his army. He's got sight elsewhere as well, which is really nice. He's got this unit, which has been tracking a medevac, now tracking for just general medevac coverage. He's got an observer over here. He's got the Zelnaga. I mean, he really is only blind to the right side, which he should be paying attention to. And now he knows, yeah, absolutely, the army's coming that way. Sees a decent number of tanks, too. It's kind of weird to see a Terran player not start building tanks and then get into tanks. It's kind of weird to see them just suddenly be on tanks. That's what HeRoMaRinE has done. He delayed tank production in the early game, now is adding tanks, and even added on a second factory and +1 vehicle weapons. So it seems to be the times are changing in PvT. Tanks are becoming more and more staple in mid to late game, where I still say that they're not exactly worth it, but I see their benefits. I'll talk more about that after this engagement. Lots of Marauders on the front lines get cut off from the reinforcements. And unfortunately, I think that was just a little bit too much firepower. 3 Colossus not being taken down. No, 1 gets taken down by the tanks. Uh-oh. MaNa, I think he overstayed his welcome. Oh my god, the Disruptor was just rallied forward. Didn't get a chance to shoot at all. And I thought that was going okay initially. Oh, good blink forward to get that 1 tank and medevac. Nicely done. I thought that was going pretty good initially. It did almost turn around there. That was, oof. The Marauders, I mean, they got cut off. Took a while to kill. Everything else, I guess, wasn't exactly dying that quickly. Yeah, I guess there was really just the Marauders that were dying, and then everything was still left over, so MaNa needed another line of reinforcements, basically. Which he did get, and their warp-in came through, and he is saying that a stable supply, but it was a little scary. So lost one of his Colossus, so... Does he replace it? Maybe eventually. You know, 3 Colossus is kind of the magic number of Legacy of the Void, but... Eventually. Right now, prioritizing getting to a decent number of Archons, Warp Prism, and Disruptor counts. Since Disruptors don't really have a hard counter, I mean, they are really tempting to just go into immediately. And if you do go into them, you don't really stop making them. 2 Vikings were, I think, involved in the battle last game, but no Vikings now. None at all. So just hoping the Concave and the Marauder count's going to be high enough to live through the Colossus beams. The tanks can try and focus fire them down, but it's very positional. Those tanks are great at warding off these robo units, but a couple of zealots from the backside, suddenly it's a dangerous game. And then HeRoMaRinE also needs to make sure to have sight on the Protoss army, as we do have that whole mechanic of tanks having longer range in their sights. If you don't have sight in the Disruptors, they can shoot you before the tanks shoot the Disruptors. So exactly what happened here. It takes more than a couple tank shots to kill a Disruptor, so it is safe. Zealots going to the 4th base, now going into the 3rd. There's a bunker in the backside. Love that new addition. It feels like it's been the thing to do for the past couple of months, but when Eternal Empire was first released, we didn't really see it that much. Very nice spot to put a bunker. But there are those backline Zealots I was talking about. That's how you deal with tanks, but I absolutely love that HeRoMaRinE had a Marine back there to at least be mentally prepared. You can try and kind of shift your bio army a little bit more when you know that they're coming at you from 2 different sides. Because only 8 Zealots, if his entire bio army is back there, they get taken down, then you return to the front of the tanks. And since the tank numbers are kind of high, it's not like they're dying that quickly. So, love that he at least scouted it. He's got to anticipate it. He knows MaNa's pretty good, and MaNa's going to have something from the backside. If he doesn't have anything from the backside, I don't think he's actually engaging. I think MaNa's gonna have to give this base. Yeah, he is. He's evacuating the probes and losing only 5. He's already rebuilding a base off to the left side. And those Zealots that were originally going to collapse in on the tanks have gone for another run-by. Lots of Marauders and tanks left over, and actually finding some decent Sim City, question mark, Unit City? Whatever you want to call it. As they get tucked into a corner with the tanks providing the wall. An engagement going down on MaNa's would-be 4th base, but it does not look to be going very well for Yellow Protoss. Solid opportunity when the tanks weren't siege, but to be honest with you, MaNa's army supply just isn't looking that hot. His upgrades also were just barely not done. Finally getting up to, I think, 2-2, as HeRoMaRinE is close to 3-3, so MaNa's just been behind in upgrades the entire time. Disruptors do not give a flying fuck about upgrades, though, and that's still something that MaNa is depending on. His Disruptor count is actually kind of out of control, but he needs to continuously find HeRoMaRinE not paying attention, not having that medevac forward or a scan available. And then he can start picking away the tanks. But if a scan's available, if the medevac's in place, the Disruptors are going to get shot. And they do ball up like the balls they are. They don't do a good job of spreading. HeRoMaRinE, good game sense. Probably figuring out, okay, if you evacuated that base, you got a base somewhere else. Takes out the left side base. MaNa's going to try and take his right side base back, but, another squadron there. HeRoMaRinE is kind of taking into account almost everything. Good DT warp in. That many DTs, doesn't matter if you have a scan. To save that Nexus, but it's not mining. MaNa still is trying to get to just the ultimate army. Oh no, Colossus always for the die! Oh, okay. That sucks. Misclick as well in the Warp Prism. Oh no, stop. She's losing robo units. It's kind of awkward. Paying attention to the right side as well as maybe to his run-by, so he was not super paying attention to his main army. Good cancel on a would-be 6th. But yeah, 6th, that's not, you want more than that. You want some more. Tanks cleaned up on the bottom of the ramp, but it's because HeRoMaRinE's army has actually moved over to the left side, which I guess MaNa kind of missed out on. I thought it killed the base, but then MaNa was not at all in position. Now he has to find some type of position to get into. DTs have been warped in. Did HeRoMaRinE notice that? Zealots from the backside, but where's the rest of the army? This is actually a little bit awkward, a little bit mistimed from MaNa, but it might still be good enough, actually enveloping the Terran army, and Disruptor Shot looking for a great kill, misses it, but the blink forward is going to be able to take out a lot of the remaining bio. DTs are able to push off the base, but temporarily. This Nexus, unfortunately, the same group of bio is going to be able to get the cancel, but MaNa does have a chance here. He's going to carry on with his momentum, losing a couple of Stalkers to the leftovers, but looking to tackle that planetary. He's got 2 Warp Prisms, twice the pickup power, and he's got a bajillion Disruptors. Going to use 2 of their shots to kill the SCVs, 2 of the shots to kill 2 tanks. The planetary goes down, and it is a bit of a slugfest, but MaNa kind of all in right now. He's only on 3 bases, where HeRoMaRinE still has 4 bases and a bit of a bank. Both of them losing out on workers. MaNa does slap down a 4th Nexus to the left side, and these units are so overstimmed that a couple of Zealots also would have done the trick. He's going to try and kite his life for his life against the DTs, but eventually he's going to lose that powerful Nexus canceling army. This army, though, this army of MaNa, it's getting a little bit thin, but it's still pretty powerful. So many Disruptor shots, getting a clump of SCVs to the left side. The Ravens only having recently popped out. Don't have enough energy for an interference matrix, it looks like, as they threw down auto turrets. They got instantly bopped. 19 workers go down in the hole to the natural as MaNa cleans up his side of the map and takes a 4th base. He has made this into a game, that is for sure. His army is so small, though. It is a Colossus and 8 Disruptors and a handful of other units. A big concave from HeRoMaRinE would absolutely destroy it. But HeRoMaRinE, he's been pushed and pulled, and it's starting to get a little bit scary. Tanks are trying to provide that just safe defense, and they're doing a good job with that. MaNa getting a little bit overeager, doesn't even get that last kill, and now that small army I was talking about does get pounced upon. The Warp Prism's double Warp Prism, picking up 3 of the Disruptors. DTs in the natural are scanned and not going to do a whole lot of damage. I think MaNa just got overeager right there. He saw tanks alone and thought, okay, I'll just take these and be able to leave. But they weren't really alone. The bio army was there, and while it wasn't a humongous bio army, it was compared to what MaNa had, which was like literally 8 units. If MaNa had maybe played more so around the bottom of the ramp, saying, no, you come to me, while he built up his probe count, and then eventually just evacuated, just said, okay, yeah, I'm not serious, let's just leave. He might still be in this game, but now I'm not so sure. Loses another Disruptor. I don't see he grabs another Nexus, though. Like, oh, maybe. HeRoMaRinE, his tank certainly helped him in that defense over here. They are going to be a bit of a bother to bring over to the other side of the map to actually kill his opponent. Oh, well, this is a freebie. This is a freebie, and that's kind of a freebie, too. Missile turret perfectly placed. Shadow Stride is done, so he jumps top a couple tanks. And now the Raven transition kind of actually working. Well, will get a chance to work, is the better way to say it. He will actually have 3, 5, however many Ravens with energy to just interference matrix all these robo units down. Could HeRoMaRinE just out-multitask and out-macro and out-concave his opponent? Yes, and that's been the typical way that Terrans have been tackling a composition like MaNa's. But we do have the new way of doing it, which is getting tanks, which outrange those Disruptors, and also apparently going into Ravens, which can actually just literally take them out of the equation. MaNa definitely likes to show off his micro. He's trying to make 2 Disruptors and a Warp Prism work against a 50 arm supply lead. This Nexus, never going to get a chance to mine, really. GG, HeRoMaRinE does take game number 1, but quite close. Quite close. That was a fun one. I do feel like MaNa was a little over-invested into his robo units, right? I mean, the last army he had was kind of a desperation, oh, it's what I have, you know, left over from a couple of battles, but just in general, I don't know, I feel like you get to 8 Disruptors. Yeah, eight's a good number, actually. I think 8's a very good number of Disruptors to have, but I think the expectation is that you're supposed to have a lot of other stuff with it. And they never seemed to really be a part of a huge army so much as they were just the army. It seemed to always be what MaNa was relying on, was 8 Disruptors scaring off HeRoMaRinE. Which they did, but not permanently, like not quickly. You know, took a lot of micro and a lot of Disruptor shots to actually kill the tank lines on his side of the map. His gateway army was constantly thinned out by a couple of the engagements. Yeah. MaNa almost made do. With like an entirely robo-based army, but couldn't quite. Game number 2 on Everdream. In the top right, that is the yellow Protoss. He is MaNa. In the bottom left is the red Terran. We got HeRoMaRinE. So I guess I'll talk about it on stream, because it's definitely pertinent. My understanding is that tanks with their full range outrange disruptors. But that's the thing about tanks, is that tanks don't have the same sight as their range. So you see often enough disruptors kill tanks, but it's usually because the tanks aren't, they can't see them. They just come out of nowhere to them. So I believe that is the dynamic. We saw it a couple of times. HeRoMaRinE had to make sure to have a medevac floating close to MaNa's army. Otherwise, he was getting his tanks killed. That said, I don't actually know what the range is. Not much of a numbers person. I think there might be a bit of micro involved to make the disruptor actually shoot successfully even when given sights. But I don't 100% know. So its sight is 9. So it's obnoxious because it doesn't really have a range. It's an amount of time, you know. So after 2.1 seconds, how far does it go? I don't know. I'm absolutely looking up the numbers. HeRoMaRinE's going to go for a 3cc build. Very greedy right now. Not even getting a bunker in the natural. Oh, you greedy boy. MaNa's going for a Stargate, which doesn't have a lot of killing potential, especially if you don't know that you could kill your opponent. Like, if he was forcing the issue and getting a bunch of Adepts with 2 Oracles, he could float in and kill most of the units here, but that's probably not his plan. He's already gone for a Stalker instead of another Adept. So, to answer some questions in chat, the tank range with full sights is 11. No, with full sight. The sight is 11, so it's 13. Range is 13 for a tank, but its sight's only 11. Woo! The Adept micro! Oh my god! Nicely done here, Marine. It's gonna be able to scout the Oracle, too. Which it had not done yet, so that was actually kind of cool. Pretty important moment there for HeRoMaRinE. Moves is very limited, but just enough Marines to protect his SEV line. And finally adds on that bunker. But MaNa did get the Oracle Scout, so that's really important, too. He saw that it was a 3rd CC build, so he can kind of change his plans. Anyways, and then Lurkers, with their seismic spines, have a range of 10. That's what it's called? Seismic spines? Oh my god, I'd never say that. I've never said that. How does Wikipedia not have the quote-unquote range of a disruptor? .1 seconds and 3.153. Sweet. Some math nerd can do the thing, do the calculations. I don't care. Alright, there is not a push, just a third command center being taken. HeRoMaRinE really doesn't have a lot of infrastructure. He has matched his Protoss opponent on workers. When you include mules, that's quite good for the Terran. And he is only just now really finalizing his production. And that comes down pretty much all at once. You get 5 barracks. You got 1 barracks into 3 into 5 very, very quickly. So 5 barracks done as you're starting your upgrades of Sim Combat Children +1 is actually, if you watch normal, like, you know, 3 racks, 2 base Terrans, is actually quite insane. So it's not a lot of production into a heck of a lot of production, and you can also quickly afford a second starport or Ghost Academy or whatever you want. HeRoMaRinE, playing the ultimate greed, is getting away with it because MaNa didn't really have anything set up to do anything about it. As I said, the Stargate thing, maybe in the very early game, you get some adepts, you do some damage, but beyond that, you can't quickly go into Twilight Council stalkers and then try and kill them with Blink. Like, it's not going to happen that quickly. You could try to quickly get gateways and just warp in from, like, a proxy pylon, but, like, who sets up for that? Your Stargate doesn't give you much killing potential. So HeRoMaRinE gets away with this. MaNa gets the scouting to also get away with some greed of his own. His third Nexus probably would have been later. His gases probably would have been later. He probably holds off on Storm, like, you know, something along those lines. He doesn't get double forge. Sure, yeah. But HeRoMaRinE just feels like he still ended up getting the better end of the deal. Better end of the trade. His macro, his build feels better. But it's not over yet. We'll see what MaNa's Storms can do. We'll see specifically what MaNa's micro of Warp Prism Storms can do. And, oh, darn it. I thought it was going to be Storm Drops. Darn it, MaNa. No cool points for you, then. Disruptor shot's outrange because the shot itself is a radius. Yeah, that's the perfect micro I think I was talking about. But I think it rarely happens. Like, you have to shoot from the very farthest possible as Disruptor and hit with the edge of the Disruptor shot. Ooh, the feedback into Storm combo. Slapped that push. I mean, it's not done, but HeRoMaRinE's very powerful push definitely gets taken down a notch or two. MaNa starting that fight off very well. Being able to buy time for maybe Blink to finish up. His upgrades still have a ways to go, but he's also injured the army. Doesn't seem to really matter, actually. He's still 4 medevacs with a decent amount of energy left over, so he's gotta do more than that. Gotta do more than that. Oh, a couple of zealots and wait, what? Oh, he did storm. Oh, shoot, I missed it. God darn it. Okay, never mind. Oh, those Widow Mines reached way back there to get pretty nice splash on top of the Zealots. More Zealots being warped in, but that is pretty much it. MaNa might have gotten Blink, but as no Stalkers really utilize it, I'm not even sure what he would be utilizing him for. This army is very anti-Stalker. The Zealots, they just aren't in big enough numbers. They got taken out by the Widow Mines, and they didn't have much other support. The Storms, the natural, I miss them. Seemed like they were pretty cool. Does not make up for him losing his entire army. He has no defensive Storms. He's desperately trying to add in a couple of Archons, but HeRoMaRinE is already reinforced, and this is probably it. HeRoMaRinE has a 50 army supply lead. A good Storm finally hitting the heart of the army and almost killing that Raven. Another one trying to look for it as well is not going to be getting another good Storm. MaNa does have 4 bases, but so is HeRoMaRinE in just a second. MaNa has no transition prepared. Honestly, he would have loved to have already pushed this back, and then is well on his way to Colossus. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Nexus is gonna fall down. Immortals, I believe, have all had their shields popped. At least most of them have. Good Storm, and the Immortal count is damn impressive. Against HeRoMaRiNE's Marauder count, it was actually exactly what you would want. They never got on top of it, you know? The Immortals were already weak or just farther behind or being zoned out by the Widow Mines. Like, they couldn't get on top of the army. Which is really unfortunate, because otherwise I think MaNa's army type was good. It just needed to actually get into range fully and entirely. So instead what happened is he lost a lot of Zealots. Now, he's kind of stabilizing. Kind of. I actually thought that was going to be the killing blow. I thought we're, 200 supply to 100 supply. But MaNa's only down by 40 in general. Now 30. Only down 20 army supply. He had that 4th base, which is now saturated, and he has better upgrades. HeRoMaRiNE actually messed up his +2 armor, it looks like. It's only just now on the way, so this game is not over yet. It's not. And this 3rd is kind of not even true. It's actually going to be his 5th. As he first prioritized getting the top left base. Kind of a hidden base, to be honest. And he just denied HeRoMaRiNE's attempt to scout it. A what-if scout, it felt like. But, okay, well, speaking of missing scouts. Alright, then. Alrighty. That's going to be an easy cancel, but MaNa might get some revenge. Good Storms in the heart of the army. War Prism is not going to be taken out of the equation. Just anti-armor missile, but, ooh, the anti-armor missile. Also hit a couple of the Immortals. That last one should go down. Oh, it's going to live? What? Reinforcements clear up the Marauders on the backside. So they got the canceled Nexus and a couple of probes, but there was some revenge to be had. Looks like I don't know how they actually got past that stasis trap. They must have just, like, barely gotten through it. It's so funny. And HeRoMaRiNE's thinking, great, I just canceled his 3rd Nexus again. I know he has a 4th somewhere. Yeah, he knows about the 4th, but what he doesn't know about is that it's actually still legitimately 4 bases mining. That is not information that HeRoMaRiNE is privy to, and that's a big deal. He's going to maybe overzealously push into an army that is slightly bigger than anticipated. Slightly more confident than anticipated, but okay, that's actually GG. Just kidding. Never mind. I take it all back. Not only did the EMP hit the bulk of the army, the Vikings took out the War Prism with Storm, and I think that's just too much. He needed to circumvent the army at the pass, stop it from getting through, and then not lose his War Prism basically ever. So, yeah, jeez. HeRoMaRiNE very comfortably on 4 bases. Might not push to win in the next 20 seconds, but I feel like he will push to win in the next 100 seconds. I just don't know what MaNa can really do, and he still hasn't really added on any other technology. What he's depending on is his superior upgrades. 3-3 going to finish up against HeRoMaRiNE's just 2-2. So the Zealots are as scary as they should be. Add on, like, 1 decent Storm with the Immortals, and yeah, he could take out an army. Even without, so much splash, but oh, it feels so much better. It feels so much better if he had a Disruptor or a Colossus on the way. And now MaNa, his 4th base gets revealed. HeRoMaRiNE, if he's not going to kill it right now, he could always just pressure it later while also pressuring the right side. This was kind of a gamble that almost paid off, man. If that middle engagement hadn't gone as bad as it did, if he still had that War Prism, if he just stopped this push for another 10 seconds, I feel like it would go so much better. HeRoMaRiNE actually has very few EMPs because he sniped a bunch of Zealots earlier on, so the Storms are plentiful, but the Concave is too damn good. And the Immortals are finally going to be torn apart, and this is only a fraction of HeRoMaRiNE's army. So much is back at home. He's on 82 workers. GG. HeRoMaRiNE takes game number 2. It is a best of 5, and you can see how good MaNa can be, but yeah, it kind of describes MaNa's PvT. It's like barely not there. There's a lot of cool things that he does, a lot of fancy footwork, but at the end of the day, the actual substance isn't quite there. It's like MaNa would be not just an amazing player, he's already an amazing player, but he wouldn't just be like a round of 8 guarantee. He would also be one of the most fun players to watch in those upper parts of the bracket. It's kind of like it's a little bit of a hurdle that occasionally he pushes through. You know, occasionally we're like, MaNa, you know, he's good, but I don't know, and then he just, you know, actually pushes through and gets to the round of 8. Or the upper bracket round of 4 that DreamHack had, or, you know, however you say that when it's double elimination. But HeRoMaRinE, it's like substance is his middle name, man. HeRoMaRinE's all about substance. He's got some flashy moves, of course, but he's very dependable. Even when he doesn't feel good about the game. Could be the last game here on Pillars of Gold. In the bottom left, as the yellow Protoss, he is MaNa. In the top right, as the red Terran, he is HeRoMaRinE. Alright, nothing tricky here. Gas second. MaNa just blocking out the Reaper. A lot of last game was about MaNa reacting to HeRoMaRinE's 3cc build. And while he got plenty of time to react, I mean, there's still some power in that Stargate opener against that. He didn't get much chance to punish it. And his own risk-taking, his own greed he went for, didn't quite affect the push like he was hoping for. Having blinked on did not help him. Having upgrades did not help him enough against that pusher on his third base, the first one. He probably had everything lined up, ready to go, but there is some very awkward engagements, and that really does suck, because he had that Storm feedback combo that I felt like started them off really well, and they just didn't quite have enough to really push that back, and I don't know. I'm sure MaNa has an idea of what he could have done better. I think some of the control, kind of unlucky on the Widowmine shot, to be honest, too. If I'm being honest, if I'm not being Terran biased, those Widowmines kind of reached. Hit more Zealots than they should have. Popped some like Immortal Shield, I think. Like, But he was kind of supposed to be set up well against it, but it was him kind of following in the footsteps of HeRoMaRinE, as HeRoMaRinE boldly went where most Terrans do not go, which is 3cc, not just very quickly, but also kind of cavalierly. Is that a word? No, it's not a word. He's also cavalier about it. You know, that bunker was not in a hurry. I think he salvaged it basically immediately. Used SimCity around the third on average room to protect him more than anything else. Is there an adjective for cavalier? He is cavalier. He is... He can... He... No, it doesn't. What is an adjective? So what am I looking for? An adverb is what I'm looking for. I don't even get an adverb. Anyways. Did you guys know that Cavalier also is a dog? It's a dog breed. The more you know. Isn't that orange? I'm pretty sure it's red. Didn't I say red? Well, off in the natural, in case it's a Hellion opener. It's not. It's not a 3cc build. Into the Raven, into tanks. Very similar to last game. Widowmine was placed defensively against what looks to be like a hallucination. Is what it popped off on, right? Wait.
You must construct additional pylons.
Oh, I must have killed it over here and then moved. Okay. I'm like, how did he not see the main base? Yeah, it just reloaded, so it hit a little while ago. Reaper's still trying to get some decent scouting. I mean, third Nexus timing is probably the most important thing he's looking for. He saw 2 gateways and then not much else. Well, and a robo, but I'm saying he didn't see a 4th gateway, which means it could be somewhere. He just didn't see it. Or it could just actually be an expansion. It's going to be an expansion. I think if MaNa knew it was a 3rd CC, which he's only just really figuring out, he might have not gone for 3 gateways. He might have gone for the faster 3rd CC and then a robo. So this is a little unfortunate. This would be the downside of what he's done. It's not like a little too little of the road, right? The Oracle can't kill, but it can scout. It can harass. That was great. That was actually quite good. Can't kill it, but okay. Still do something about it. This build, it's like, well, if you were going for 4 gates, could you kill HeRoMaRinE? Maybe. Maybe. That's why HeRoMaRine's so defensive against it. He's got 2 bunkers. You know, prime anti-blink setup. If you went for 2 gateways and just kind of blindly macroed, would you do well against it? Yeah, probably. But what MaNa's doing is 3 gates, kind of investing into units, investing into technology first, which could have been pushed off. It could have. Could have. Observer was seen. HeRoMaRiNE knows the jig is up. I think he knows that would be the first time that MaNa had confirmed the 3rd CC. There are other things that would show 3rd CC build, but I don't think MaNa, because he got like literally this amount of scouting. I don't think he saw enough. That was his first real indication. That's unfortunate. So HeRoMaRiNE's going to have that same attack like last game, and we'll see if Colossus can do any better against it. Hard to say that it will. I don't know about that. What's that Chernobyl theme? MaNa, it's not good, it's not terrible. Yeah. Raven almost got a little bit bold trying to escape. It should be able... I'm pretty sure you can just... Well, medevac can fit there. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure there is like one tiny little part. Yeah, because I've seen medevac stay around there before. Okay, that's about as good as you're gonna get it. Oh well. Observer's still checking out the main base. Might want to move. It's kind of in an awkward location. See exactly when HeRoMaRiNE moves out with his army. I mean, he might just know based off the build. He might know the timing of this build. 7:38 minutes, whatever it is. But I think it would be nicer if he does move the Observer. Still gonna try and kill this Raven, but it's not gonna happen, my dude. Invests into Robo War Prism speed? I'm really shocked to see him investing further into robotics base tech. Extend Thermal Lance and then focus more on getting army, I thought would be the case. But alright, he finds the minerals and gas for it. I do like this maneuver. This is the best thing you can do against, in general, Terran pushes that you know are going to come, you know, beeline to the middle of the map. And also with Colossus. Shaving off those Marines, sometimes they don't have combat shields, depending on the push they're doing. It can be really effective. And I'll obviously force fielding them out, buying extra crucial seconds for shield batteries or gateways to finish. In this case, shield batteries are done. It's more so waiting on the gateways. It's going to take this engagement a little more than I think he really wants to. Ooh, the Stalkers wanted to get that tank. Instead, they're going to lose almost all of their lives, literally all of their lives, and not get that tank. Are you kidding? I already think the blink forward is a little too aggressive, but at the very least, they could have gotten that tank. I mean, come on. I thought shield batteries were done, but apparently I was just seeing warp-ins. That is one shield battery in the back that can be overcharged. And I really think he wants one in the front. Losing that many Stalkers is a real bummer, man. Could have been extra Zealots, could have been twice as many Stalkers. One-shotting some of these units instead of barely not one-shotting. That sucks. HeRoMaRiNE has a 20 armor supply lead and is going to be up in upgrades if the game continues on past this, but will it continue on is the big question. Colossus on the right side found out by a bio ball, and the left side not going much better. Vikings on top of Colossus. Not very many of them, but some getting free shots. As again, most of the Stalkers were busy with the bio. MaNa's down 20 supplies, barely managing to save these Colossus. The War Prism being saved by the shield battery is working out quite well, and the Zealots actually jumped on top of the tanks without being protected by the bio. And this actually is being pushed back. MaNa is losing probes, though. Oh, that pesky little Raven comes in with barely any health left alive and is going to get 12 probes. Without 12 probes killed, the supply is actually really close. Like, slash in favor as MaNa continues to warp in. His warp prism's still alive. But with the 12 probes killed, HeRoMaRinE can feel a bit better about being cleaned up. But it's not game over for either side. MaNa continues on, HeRoMaRinE continues on. HeRoMaRiNE's still feeling like in a better position. He's up in workers, he's got a faster fourth base, he's going to have better upgrades as I was pointing out earlier, and he is once again going into this tank-heavy composition, like what we saw in Eternal Empire. That's a lot of Marauders. That is a chunky army. Oh, I don't know about this MaNa. Oh, MaNa blinks in very aggressively. The Viking's not being taken out. He's just hoping that the Colossus... Oh, the save with the Warp Prism. Alright, well, the Colossus are adding in some pretty crucial damage. Can MaNa actually do it here? The Warp Prism control is pretty damn cool. Both Colossus still alive. Finally going to go down as the remnants of the Protoss army also gets destroyed with the remaining Marauders of the Terran army, and MaNa has not quite done it. It looked a bit hopeful for a second there, and he is getting the SCV kills. Warp Prism's still alive. Oh, it's still alive? What the fuck? How did it still alive? I thought it actually died. That's where the Zealots came from. But they are just a little bit too late. If they were there with the Archons, with the Immortals towards the end of that battle, maybe they clean up those Marauders and maybe he gets a handful more SCVs. But as it is, HeRoMaRiNE still at 61 SCV, should not feel bad about his position, working on a 4th orbital. MaNa just now completing his 4th Nexus, has given away his entire army to do that. It'd be a different story if he had saved Disruptors or Colossus, High Templars, what have you, but he gave away his entire army and is now going to try to buy more time with that barely alive, how in the hell is it alive, Warp Prism. How? I guess the Vikings maybe also thought they killed it and then they landed, but well, you know what? You know, it was the speed. It was the speed. Who am I to judge MaNa for getting that speed when he did, right? Because that speed actually means this Warp Prism's alive. It meant the Colossus got a couple more shots, and it means he does actually buy a little bit more time, and he gets the cancel on the +3 attack, helping him catch up on those upgrades, or more accurately sell out HeRoMaRiNE's, because MaNa doesn't even have any upgrades on the way. None. Nada. Zero. I would think you might want to go for a +1, but you know what I would actually want him to do? Yeah, second Robo and Disruptors. I think that's what you gotta do. Forget about upgrades. Just hope to God Disruptors get a great shot. He's still down almost half the army supply, and an upgrade lead is already to be had for HeRoMaRiNE. He's got +2, and he's got vehicle weapons. This is an orbital, so this will be very annoying to defend, but HeRoMaRiNE could just say fuck it and just attack and kill MaNa. MaNa is close to getting all those comeback units. He's close to getting Disruptors. He's close to getting a Dark Shrine. But it's not done yet. And we're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned base race. Bunker's going to buy a little bit of time, but not much. Good pull away from the SCVs. No planetary to hold on either, which is unusual for this situation. So that might help MaNa, but a 70 supply difference. And the Disruptor, it's not even going to get a good of a shot. That wasn't the shot I was hoping for. This right side army has absolutely no splash in it, and MaNa is just desperate to catch HeRoMaRiNE with just barely not enough units. And it was close, but oh wait, ooh wait, from the left side. Oh, did he actually do this? The left side Zealots and Archon come in, and actually HeRoMaRiNE is not gonna have enough at home to hold. Hold on, tank is gonna be blinked upon. It's gonna be taken out. Another warp in offensively with the Warp Prism. This is gonna be a hold though. I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be a hold. It was close. You know, he took out one army, but another one still exists back at home. Disruptor doesn't get any shots, doesn't even kill those last few tanks. Colossus is dropped upon, and MaNa's offensive engagement did not go in his favor either. GG. It was close, man. If he had found a 4th of the army, takes that out, another 4th of the army takes that out, he loses how many units when that happens, right? Your entire army versus just 20 units. You kill 20 units. You kill another 20 units. Suddenly, the arm supply...